So my poor old axe has bitten the dust, and it's quite an important part of the my little life down here, because without the log burner it's a pretty unpleasant place to be. A little mission today is going to be to fix this. Against my better judgment, I'm not going to Google how to do this. I'm going to go on the advice of my grandfather, now long since left this mortal coil, and put it in the log burner so it burns out the old handle. I'm continuing to work with charcoals this week, and I think it's a breakthrough because I feel like for the first time I can create preliminary sketches ahead of doing an oil painting that actually somehow represents what I want to create. I think what's really liberating about this is that I feel like I'm less beholden to reality, and whereas previously I've sort of slavishly followed photographs or views, and that puts a lot of onus on hunting the perfect view, that by using the charcoal I can draw on the kind of memories I have of landscapes and the feeling it created, and then work out what works well on the paper. And then once that's complete, I can then make a painting with some confidence that it's going to look how I want it to look. So this feels like quite a big step in my artistic development, really, because it's just allowing me to be more creative, but also more expressive and more free to paint landscapes how I feel them than they really were. And I'm sure you've all found this, that there's one thing about the British landscape is that it can really feel something, and then if you snapshot that, it can look quite weak. It's not visually that interesting. So I've got a few a few paintings to show you. And I thought that basically this was worth talking to you about because it's quite an interesting progression, because here I started with a photograph, and I took some photographs of this view. It wasn't just a single photograph. I do this thing quite often where I take 4 photographs, 2 low of the ground and then 2 really high of the sky, so I create this sense of being in the sphere of the sky and the horizon. And this was the painting that I started from, that, which I'm well pleased with. So I did that painting, and it was quite a laboured painting. It was quite hard work to get that down on board. But when I finished it, I thought, well, it would be interesting to explore doing a painting a bit like this, but wider. So then I got the old charcoals out and had a crack at rendering that in charcoal as a wide view. And this is the upshot of that. And actually, this is the point where I severed the connection with reality, because I began just letting the charcoal do the work and building this sense of a view in this painting, in this drawing even. And that then led me on to the next painting, which I'll now go and get again. So that then led me to this painting, which I don't think you ever would have been able to take a photograph of that, because I'm not sure it ever really occurred, but it's certainly something that I feel the feeling of when I'm standing on top of a hill on a windy day, looking down with this cloud kind of burgeoning up the horizon. That's what it feels like to me, and I would never think I achieved that without the charcoal in my back pocket. I feel like I'm getting more confident about my capacity to compose how the experience of the weather or a particular day, and I'm excited about what that might allow me in terms of where my painting goes next. Right, so the old axe head has been in the fire all night, so I'm going to pluck it out and see how it's looking. That was satisfyingly easy, wasn't it? I bought this on eBay. It's I wanted ash, but they've sent me beech, and I suspect it will probably do a few years. But now I've just got to shape that a bit so it fits. It's a bit tricky, but what I quite like to do is mark exactly that shape onto the end of that. So I've got a little idea. I've no idea whether this will work. But line that up on that, and then I've got some line marking spray. Well, certainly plenty on me. I don't think I'm getting many points for beauty, but what I have to remind myself when I'm doing jobs like this is it doesn't really have to be perfect. You know, I'm not doing it for a customer. It's just for me. It's just got to split a bit of kindling. What I'm now puzzling with is how to make a wedge without chopping all my fingers off on the table saw. And I have these little fillets that I make for making frames, and I think maybe I could just carve one down with the chisel. It's probably a horrible technique, folks, but I'm going to give it a go. Let's see if we can't turn that into a wedge. Joking I am. I often watch this Irish bloke who restores wood tools with a lot more aplomb and delicacy than I have just here. But he always does something where he knocks the handle in just with inertia. Hang on. Ready? Ooh, it does work. It's even straight, which is more than I was hoping for. Thing is, I've not got much of a crack left in there now. Tickety-boo. Okay, so I lose a few points on the wedge, but I think even so, it will probably hold on. You know, people talk about tidying up as you go along. Well, not really my vibe, that. Please don't judge me too hard for the disgusting state of this studio. So lots of pictures I don't quite know what to do with. I quite like them, but I don't want to get rid of them. The old desk is, suffering some of the same issues. The painting zone. Pretty untidy around here. The saw's out. And then we've got this little zone where I put things I don't quite know what to do with, like beautiful lithographic stone, and B, have just used in fixing the axe. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the very worst bit. The main workbench, which is looking pretty chaotic. So I think my task for the afternoon, whilst the kettle boils and perhaps beyond, is to have a little tidy up, get the place looking shipshape. I've got a couple of putty rubber questions for any putty rubber experts out there. Now, is there a better way of cleaning a putty rubber than just rolling it round in your hands until it is kind of cleaner than it was? Because that's my methodology so far, but I'd be fascinated to know if there's a more cleanly version than that. Second question is, I bought this putty rubber yonks ago. I really like it. I've got another one that I don't like because it's not very sticky, and I really like the really sticky quality of this, but I've no idea which one it was. So again, putty rubber experts, can you recommend a really gooey, sticky putty rubber? I've also been having a bit of a root through some of my works on paper from the last few months this week. I've started a Patreon page recently, and I thought it would be really nice to send either a drawing or a little lithograph or like a little preparatory painting to the first 10 people to sign up to that page. And I don't do a huge amount of work on paper, but it's nice going through and looking at some stuff I've not looked at for a while. I had a kind of phase of making kitchen lithographs of landscapes last summer, and it's kind of quite fun digging those out. It's always nice to reflect on your progress as an artist. Well, folks, as ever, it's been lovely to have your company in the studio. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Over and out.